Let me ask you this about your time in WW. I guess it was WWF at the time. I've always been curious, and if you've told this story before, my apologies, but you were you were given the, I guess, the gimmick, or you became the Goon in the WWF, and I'm curious, how did that all come about, and what are your lasting memories of, I guess, playing that role?
Well, I guess, you know, in the time, you're always, there's never been any place that I hadn't wrestled except for the WW, right?
Right.
Everywhere else I'd been there, all across the country. I've been in all of the promotions, and
Right.
I'm getting towards the end of my career. I
Right.
mean, you know,
Right.
I'm long in the tooth, if you will, right?
Right.
People know who I am. I've been around, and they know. So you're talking with Bruce Pritchard all the time, and Bruce Pritchard at the time was, one of the men in charge.
Mhm.
And, talk to him every once in a while, just trying to get in. Hey, is there any openings, blah, blah, blah. And, they bring you out and do stuff, and they know your talent. And so one day Bruce goes, well, if you did come in, what would you do?
Right.
And it's like, ah, you know,
Mhm.
and right there I thought, well, you've had football players and you've had other athletes, but you've never had a hockey player. And no, never have.
Right.
And he goes, well, what are you thinking? And I'm on a conversation on a phone like I'm on a conversation with you right now with him.
Right.
And quite frankly, I haven't thought a lick about it.
Right. It's kind of just happening on the cuff, right? You're just talking to him, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I'm just shooting from the hip, you know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just throwing this as it comes to my mind. I said, well, I don't know, I said, well, I can go out there and skate 3 periods, 20 minutes in a full gear. I bet I can wrestle for 15 minutes in hockey gear.
Mhm.
Ooh, okay. Wow. So he thought, okay, let's see. And he says, well, what are you thinking? I says, well, God, I'd take it right down to the skates, right down to the, you can't go out there and wrestle in boots. What the hell? I'm a hockey player,
Right.
so I need skates.
Right.
I says, we'll just get a pair of skates, right? We'll take the blades off of them, the toques, the blades,
Mhm.
and then we'll put the soft rubber, the soles on there, and we'll stack them up high because,
Mhm.
people have stacked them high. Short people have been stacking that shit high for years, right?
Right.
And I says, but we'll taper it in so that it tapers down so that it looks like it could be a skate.
I was gonna ask you about your boots, so I'm glad you're telling me this.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, all right, all right. And he says, well, all right, all right. And then, so then we talk about it and do all that stuff, and then he takes it to Vince, and then he comes back with a phone call, I don't know, a couple days later, and he goes, yeah, Vince wants to call it the Goon. I says, I'm in. And then we just went from there, and then, of course, what does a Goon do? Well, I don't know, kind of, just get out there and try to do stuff and try to incorporate some of what a hockey player might do and that kind of stuff. And I says, well, if I'm going to be the Goon, if you're going to do all this, like I said, I'll go to the ring with gloves and stick and not a helmet. We won't go helmet, but in the full garb.
Right.
And then, when I first start off, the first thing I'm going to do is like a hockey fight. It's just a bunch of punches, boom, 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 boom. And so that's what we did.
Right.
And tried to just kind of went on from there with it. Yeah, but, basically the Goon came on a phone call quickly, and Vince came up with the name, calling him the Goon, and that's where it's at.
How hard, Bill, was it to work in those boots? Because I'm glad you told the story of the boots. I remember seeing you as the Goon and noticing right away the boots, they were, they were lifted obviously, and they kind of tapered down, and I kept thinking to myself, that looked like a hard sole to work a wrestling match in.
Quite frankly, no, it wasn't at
It
all.
it wasn't hard,
They're like,
or
no, it wasn't
okay,
hard at all.
okay.
Well, imagine it's like well, did you ever wear platform shoes? I don't know, how old are you?
I mean, I'm 41. I've had on.
You're not old enough for platform shoes, but back in the 70s, I had a pair of orange suede platform shoes stacked they're like a 3-inch stack, and they had about a 6-inch heel on them, you know what I mean? This was in 1972 when I was in high school.
Yeah,
Cool.
I've never had a pair of those. Yeah, I must say.
Well, I had a pair of those.
Okay.
And they were cool, man. When I wore those, I was like, I was like 6'8", right? Anyway,
Right.
so when it came to making those skates, well, if you're gonna make skates, yeah, you got to have the look of standing on a skate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
And
had
it
to
did,
put
and
the
it
soul
looked just
on
like that. It really
it.
did.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you
I will say
tapered
that.
them down.
Yeah.
They just tapered in, you know. They tapered into, you were walking on, I don't know, I could go in the basement, I got them right here, and pull them up and look at them, but you've got, the ball of your foot, I don't know how big your foot is, but I mean, it tapers in about an inch from the size of my foot, how wide it is, and then it tapers in underneath the arch, and kind of widens out just a little bit at the heel.
Right.
But it was easy. It wasn't hard at all. It didn't take nothing to get used to them. I put them on, got in the ring a couple times. When I first went out, the first couple of times the Goon went to the show, got there early, got the stuff on. Of course, it's like getting dressed for a hockey game, no big deal. And I'd go out to the ring, and I'd get in the ring and hit the ropes and, testing it all out. Here's a story you'll love.
Okay.
And so I'm out there in the ring and hitting the ropes and screwing around and, just having fun, right?
Right.
And there's this big black guy out there. Holy Christ, is he big. Well, it turns out to be, now his name gets away from me. God damn it. Mark Henry. When he's first coming in.
Wow.
Right? And we're in the ring together. We're not doing anything together, but he's in the ring kind of goofing around, and I'm in the ring goofing around, and, I do something like hitting the ropes and doing this or that, and we start talking. He says, do you think you could slam me? And I'm like, I said, do you think you can jump on my shoulder? He goes, yeah. I says, well, then I can slam you. He goes, really? I says, yeah. I says, oh, I've never been slammed. I says, okay. I says, so I explained to him, and I'd hit the ropes for him to slam me, and I'm telling him, like, if you don't jump, brother, and you don't go up, there ain't no chance in hell I'm going to slam your ass. It's not going to happen, right?
Right.
Pretty much, if you go to grab me and I sit down, he was big and strong at the time. I said,
oh, yeah.
You might be able to grunt me up, but it's a hell of a lot easier if I go up with you than if I sit down and you try to grunt me up. And he understood that. He understood the weight. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, so if you'll hit the ropes and we come up, I says, we kind of halfway did it a couple times, and I said, all right, you ready? Okay, shot him in. Off he came, got him up, had him up, slammed him. Boom. First time he'd ever bench slammed.
Wow. So you're the man to credit, I guess, credit for slamming Mark Henry for the first time.
Well, yeah, that's my story.
I
And,
hear you.
quite frankly, I believe it to be true because Mark Henry at the time was very young, very
Hmm.
green. I think if you were to get a hold of Mark Henry and ask him and lay that out to him, I would think he would remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because he was just coming in. He was greener than grass, you know. And I'm out there. Basically, I'm out there in. I've got. What can I say? Like bicycle shorts on. In the old days, are bicycle shorts, or nowadays they're bicycle shorts, but they're the longer shorts with nylon.
Right.
In
Right.
those days, they were fairly new. I had the shin pads on. I had a garter belt on with holding up the socks or the hockey pad over the shin pads and tape around the shin pads. Everything but the pants. I didn't have the wrestling breezers on, or not the hockey breezers, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't have on the t-shirt, the jersey and the elbow pads and all that. I'm just out there, I got the main stuff on. It takes a little bit to get on, then out there doing stuff. And so he's probably looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Who is this? I'm out there in a garter belt, for Christ's sake. What the hell? But anyway, we started talking. I don't know. I think perhaps he knew who I was or whatever. But it was kind of funny. But yeah.
I'll tell you a story. The first time I saw you as the Goon, I didn't. You think I'm crazy? I didn't realize it was you. I didn't realize it was the same guy that I grew up seeing in world class. It didn't hit
Really?
me originally. The first time I saw you on television in WWF in that outfit, it did not register to me the very first time. Now it did. I want to say I quickly realized it, but I did not realize it the first time. I don't
Yeah.
know. It just it the because I mean it was a completely different look.
Well, yeah, I cut the hair, trimmed it
Yeah.
up, and go the whole 9 yards, completely the other side of the coin. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and didn't you cut your facial hair too? I mean, you didn't have any.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you were
Trimmed
completely
it all up.
different. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what ended
Well,
up?
hey,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, Tommy Rich didn't recognize me when I walked into the dressing room one night either. Because
Really?
Tommy and I ran for years. When I first started, I went down into Georgia, and Tommy Rich, he was like 19 years old and just had that heavyweight championship, beat Harley Race and all that shit. And I came into Atlanta, and I'm a young buck underneath. He's on top, big baby face. But Tommy and I were great friends. Ran for years, traveled together. Well, do you remember when the Black Scorpion came along?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep.
I was the Black Scorpion.
No.
Most of the shows out and around that territory, the Black Scorpion was me. There was a couple of times that there was somebody else in there, but that was because I had gone to Japan or did something and wasn't there, or they were running two shows. And so I was the Black Scorpion because Flair was off in Japan. And
Wow.
so I was the Black Scorpion, and I had cut my hair real short. I came in and I walked right by Tommy, and he didn't even recognize me. So
That's a good story. Wow. I did not know
yeah,
that about the Black Scorpion.
the Black Scorpion. Most of the time it was me. There are some other guys that say they did some of the shows too, and I couldn't even say who they are, but I know that there was other ones. But I remember most of the time down there at that time, I did the Black Scorpions on the road because Flair was out of the country for a while, and I really don't. Quite frankly, they didn't know what the hell they were going to do with that deal. You know how it is. Maybe you don't know how it is, but I think they had themselves into an angle that they didn't know where it was headed.
Yeah.
And suddenly it headed that, okay, it's going to turn out to be Flair. Well, okay, fine. That kind of worked, but
Yeah.
you know,
That's an interesting story, though, 'cause I did not know that.
Jody Hamilton was the voice.
That's incredible.
Anyway,
I had no clue.
yeah. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
That's good stuff. That's a good stuff. That's some good stuff, Bill. So when the what ended up finally, I guess the Goon just ran its course in the WWF, and how
They didn't
long
know
were you
what to,
there?
really. It only ran 8 months,
Okay,
somewhere in
felt
about
longer.
there. Quite frankly, they didn't know what to do with it. And Jim,
You talking about Jim Ross?
Jim Ross.
Oh,
Jim
okay.
Ross was basically the booker at the time,
Mhm.
right? And I don't think Jim Ross knew what to do with the Goon. And myself came in and Pug,
Yep. I know you're talking about. What's his
too
name?
many chair shots. I can't think of his name.
I
He's
know
in Florida.
exactly. I
See
know
him on
exactly who
Facebook
you're
all the
talking
time.
about. Oh, what's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in with you
I
too,
came
right?
in. He came in. The plumber came in.
Yep.
God, dirty white boy. What's
Dirty
his
right.
name?
Tony Anthony.
Tony Anthony
T.L.
came in.
Hopper. I've been actually talking a
Yes.
lot about him lately on our show because we do a
Yeah.
Smoky Mountain show, which
Yeah.
Tony Anthony had
Tony
a
Anthony.
very good
And then
run
there
on
was
Smoky Mountain.
there's another guy that came in, very handsome, good-looking kid, and I can't think of what he went as.
You're right. I remember though that they brought a bunch of y'all in at one time though.
There was 4 of us that came in all at that one time, and not one of them got over. Well, no, wait a minute. I would have to say, I really do think that I think the Goon people loved, but they didn't know what to do with them, and that's Jim didn't know what to do with them, and so he kind of died. And I think all 4 of those characters died because they didn't quite know what to do with them, right? Because I've never heard anybody say that the Goon sucked or that was a bad. What do you mean? Now, did it draw money? A bunch of money? No. Did it last a long time? No. But everybody always seemed to love the Goon. Oh God, that was cool. Okay. Did it draw a lot of money? No. But I think the people liked it, and they all remember it. And so,
Yeah.
I think that with another person with maybe a little bit more input, and maybe, quite frankly, if I'd have tried to, sometimes you got to push your own wagon, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've heard that a million times.
Maybe I sat back a little too much, thinking, oh, this is a big organization, just let them go. Well, so, that's all water under the bridge, whatever.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, sometimes I think, probably should have stepped up and tried to throw some angles at them with what to do with the Goon that I didn't. But
we live and we learn, and years go by, and we always look at things, no matter what walk of life it is, and say, I wonder if I would have did this. I wonder if I would have did that. It's just part of growing older, not old, just growing older.
yes, that's true. It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
You can be, like I say, you can make parts at an automobile production place, and you might have a good idea and you never say anything for 10 years, and 20 years later they're doing it, and you think, what the hell? I thought of that 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, Wild Bill, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much for spending about an hour with me to talk about your career and the things you experienced. It's been a good discussion.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't keep you too long.
No, it's fine. Well, we'll do it again.